Alright, we're back for pack 3. We've opened our third power of the draft in Mox Ruby. It looks like a pretty easy pick. Moxes are just super powerful. Even though it's off color, it's just like gets you so far ahead if you can have it early and accelerate all your turns by 1. Don't really need to explain why Mox Ruby is so strong. I'm just going to take it. There's also a volcanic island in this pack, which I wouldn't mind. Even though red isn't really the splash we're considering, we're more interested in like Underground Sea because of the Silumgar. Even though I could see cutting the Silumgar at any point, I'm not super tied to it. I'm also looking to pick up playables in this pack because we only have 13 playables at the moment. We have some like random bears and whatnot in the sideboard that we can bring in to fill out our deck, but I would prefer to get some non-land playables in this pack. Mox Ruby doesn't really count, so we gotta be on the lookout for that this pack. Looks like a Supreme Verdict for me. It's very good in my deck. And there's really nothing else for us anyway. It's like a Mental Misstep, which is sort of sideboard material. Mind Twist is really strong, but I don't really want to splash it. And you really want to be casting it for like 4 or 5 mana, which we already have enough to do with our 4 and 5 mana anyway, so yep, just looking to lower my curve if possible. Okay, there's options here. Sword of Body and Mind is the best sword in the Hoiday cube in my opinion, but our deck is not really a sword deck. We don't have that many things that can carry it except for our late game stuff, which doesn't really need swords to help it. So I can take Enlightened Tutor, which is just card disadvantage, and we have nothing else to get with it. Nothing good besides like Oblivion Ring and like Mox Ruby, I guess. But see, this is what I was talking about, because this pack I want to take Frost Titan. It's the best card for us by far, but it's also a 6-drop, which we already have a lot of. So it feels kind of bad. I guess I could take Trinket Mage as well to go get our Mox Ruby. That's probably just better. Although it hurts me to pass a Frost Titan, I think I just need to focus on my turns 2 and 3. Make sure I don't fall too far behind. Okay, this is quite a pack for us. There's a Snapcaster Mage, a Flooded Strand, Looter Ilkor, and Watery Grave, all of which would be great in my deck. And Fiend Hunter is okay, but I don't like that it dies to Supreme Verdict or that it's vulnerable to removal. Not sure what I want to take out of this pack. I'm leaning towards the Watery Grave. Let's see, how many good Snapcaster things do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but Sphinx's Rev kind of doesn't count because it takes like 9 to 10 mana for it to be actually worth it. I think I'm just going to take this Watery Grave so that we can cast our Silumgar. We already have 2 fetches to go get it. So even though it's not technically a playable, it allows us to use Silumgar as a playable, if that makes sense. Vents are good in my deck. We can bounce Solemn, which is kind of interesting. We can bounce Silumgar, which doesn't quite work the way we want it to. We can bounce Trinket Mage, but we only have one good target for it anyway. Looks like just a control magic for me. Not really interested in anything else, so just looking for playables. Control Magic's a good playable. Here's a Marsh Flats, which can go get Watery Grave, but I think I'm okay with my red sources, or excuse me, my black sources right now, with 2 fetches and a Watery Grave that they can go get. That's 3 black sources for Silumgar, which I think is going to be fine. Like, I probably wouldn't mind one more, but I'm more worried about my playable count right now. We're only at like 14 playables, which is not really where we want to be. But on the other hand, there's just a darker waste for us. So after all that talk of not wanting this Marsh Flats, I guess I'd rather have the Marsh Flats at that point, if we're just going to take a darker waste. Ooh, I like Daze. It's a good early play. I don't mind Lotus Bloom either. Our curve is pretty high, but I do like having an early interactive play, because we are lacking those. Journey to Nowhere, similarly, good interactive play. Secret of the Way is a okay interactive play. I guess it's better than all of the 2-drops in our sideboard, so Arbiter, sure. Yeah, I like Seeker. It's fine. Relic Warder, I guess, it's better in this cube than it is in normal cubes because there's so many good artifacts and enchantments to hit with it. And there's nothing else in the pack I'm particularly interested in, so I guess I'll take it, even though there's a good chance I don't play it main deck. Burial Rites is kind of interesting. We're already splashing black. We've got a few value things that we can get back, but nothing like amazing. So I guess, yeah, I'll take it. Maybe play it, maybe not. Like, I could be taking all these white early plays, but I already have so many in my sideboard that I don't really care for them. Don't care about any of these. Fencer came back, I might play it. Dragon Hunter, so we got our 1-drop. Alright, so we ended up a little bit short on playables, which is unfortunate, but it's what happens sometimes when you're sort of waffling between colors in your early pack. I think we'll be able to fill out our deck just fine. Probably going to play like 22 spells anyway, so we only need to fill out like 2 mediocre cards from our sideboard. But we'll take a look at it in deck building. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. These are the 19 cards that I know I want to play for sure, which means we have to play 3 other cards that are going to be more or less unexciting, but you know, we're going to have to live with them. I have Venser in the sideboard right now as a card that I could play, but I don't really want to. It doesn't work great with any of the cards we have right now. It's okay with Solemn Simulacrum, and that's about it. Trinket Mage can only get Mox Ruby and potentially Pithing Needle, but that's not quite enough value to include it in my opinion. It can give one of our creatures Pseudo Vigilance, which is only really relevant with the Baneslayer Angel, so I'm not that excited by that. And it's just like a 5-drop that has minimal impact on the board, so I'm probably just not going to play it. So I think one of the 3 playables I'm going to play is the Pithing Needle, because we have this Trinket Mage. Most of the time I think we're going to be going to get Mox Ruby, just as sort of like ETB draw land or whatever, if you can think of it that way. So it's almost like an accelerator in that regard. But sometimes if they have a problem permanent that gets hit by Pithing Needle, we can do that. So we have to play 2 more cards. One thing we could do is play a Ranger of Eos package, because we have 2 1-drops we can go get. But I don't really want to be playing random 2-power guys for 1 that don't have a big impact on the board, so I'm not really interested in that. I think I'm going to play this War Priest of Thune, just because it's, you know, something that can come down early to block and actually has an impact on the game, more than just being a 2/2 for 2, which is basically what all our other early creatures are doing. You could make the same argument for the Relic Warder, except that we're going to be playing more blue sources than white, because we have like Jace, Mana Drain, Daze, that kind of thing. So I want to be a little heavier in blue. We could consider a Jeskai Ascendancy being one of our last playables. We have the Scalding Tarn that can go get Sacred Foundry, and Marsh Flats can also go get it, so it's like 3 sources of red if we wanted to go that direction, but I don't think it's high enough impact. Maybe if I had like a Monastery Mentor or something, I would consider it a little more strongly. So we just need to play 1 more card. Could be Unburial Rites, which is, we don't have that many targets for, so I don't think it's worth it. We could try to make the mana work for like Inferno Titan, but I'm not really interested in going down that route. So I think I'm just gonna play one of these random early plays. I guess Relic Warder is the one that's most likely to be relevant. All the others are more or less just vanilla. Like I said, I could try to play Ranger of Eos package, and even though it is card advantage in conjunction with these 2, they're just not cards that I want in my blue-white control deck, so not really interested in them. The other option would be to play 19 land, but I don't really want to be there. We do have a strip mine in a library, which could be an excuse to do that, but I just can't justify it for the times we're going to flood out and hate our life. So let's see. So we have 3 fetches that can get Watery Grave or basics. So let's just add our basics to fill out the rest of our mana base. They want 5 and 5. We're going to need 1 more mana source. Probably a plains, but let's see what this does for us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 white sources. This is sort of on the low end, so I think I'd want 1 more. Blue, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus the marsh flats is like a 9th if we get Watery Grave, but then that takes away a blue source, or a white source rather. So if we discounted all of our lands, besides the Watery Grave, all of our fetch lands rather. So Watery Grave comes up here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 2 extra blue sources, 1 extra white source. I guess that's fine. That's like 1 more blue source generally. These blue fetches can't get white, so we can only consider them blue sources. So we have 7 actual white sources, plus 1 of them can act as an island. So it's like 8 blue sources, sometimes a 9th, 7 white sources, hard 7. I feel like I'm kind of talking to myself at this point. Sacred Foundry, does that do anything else relevant for us? It makes Scalding Tarn tap for a white, which might be enough of a reason to play it. It turns this Scalding Tarn into a additional plains if we need it. So even though we don't need the red mana, it could be worth playing. So then I could cut 1 island. Does that make sense? Could cut the strip mine. It's not doing a lot for me. I can just side it in if there's a problematic card. I really don't want to be stripping people when I'm trying to hit all my land drops and cast massive revelations and whatnot. So okay, I feel pretty good about this. Like I said, if I had like 2 more good playables, like more interactive 1 and 2 drops, I'd be much happier, but I like the general game plan that our deck has, and I think we'll do pretty well with it. So let's go ahead and submit this and come back for round 1.